Del, what was the focus of training camp today? Continue to progress along and prepare for another preseason game.
Being in better shape and communication. Those are the two biggest things we talked about before. The day-to-day, I think we did a solid job of it. It could have been a lot better, but that's the point of training camp. We're gonna have our errors, our mishaps, but get them all out now. So come October 22nd, we're prepared.
You talk about being in better shape. How difficult is it for those who don't know of trying to get yourself mentally ready to push that fourth wall to get ready for those games where they could go into overtime or they're just very long battles? How difficult is that?
It's difficult. Like you said, it's all a mind game. Throughout the game, you're going to get tired. There's no one in this league that doesn't get tired. But the ones that what separates the good teams from the great teams is the ones that mentally push themselves past that fourth wall. So I think that's something that as we want to be a running team, we want to be able to get up and down and still be a great defensive team. It just takes a lot of effort and a lot of commitment to doing it. So, like you said, it's a mental thing, and once you establish that as a team, we'll be just fine.
To that point, I know the playoffs are a long, long way away, but how much has going to the playoffs and knowing what the process is, making the playoffs, getting into a playoff series, how much is that kind of in the back of your mind? Thinking, okay, I need to have this conditioning, this stamina to get me through April, May, way down the
That's kind of what summer's about, in my opinion. I think you train like you're going to be playing way more than 82 games throughout the season. You train like you're going to be deep in the playoffs where you're playing maybe 100, possibly 100 games in the season. It starts there, in my opinion. Then going into training camp, that's always something in the back of your mind. Like it's the last drill or it's the last play. You're dog tired, huffing and puffing, and you just give your last little bit of extra effort. That can be the deciding factor of any game throughout the season. That can be deciding home court advantage or away. So that's something I think that we've all, especially the ones that have been here, we've played in those two playoff series that we've had since I've been here. Kind of realize and recognize, and that's kind of what we're preparing for going into the season.
It's been a couple of days, but what was your biggest takeaway from that first preseason game?
The unselfishness of this team. That ball was popping around a lot on the offensive end. Defensively, we turned them over, I think, 18 or 19 times. So, that's what we like, what we want. We can clean up our fouls. I think that was kind of the biggest thing. I think they went to the free throw line 30-plus times. So, that's something that we got to clean up as a team. But, for a first game, I felt good. I felt comfortable. I felt confident in this team. So, it's only up from here.
Obviously, Jalen didn't play, Franz didn't play. The lineups were a little different.
Yep.
The rotations were unique. But what did you get from your perspective of playing along Desmond Bain and maybe that chemistry early on?
D-Bane's going to make it so much easier for all of us. With him being a 40+% three-point shooter, and able to play make at the same time, he's just going to make it a lot easier for all of us. He's an unselfish player. He's not forcing anything. He takes what the defense is giving him. He just makes the correct play night in and night out. And that's something that he's kind of voiced to the whole team, throughout training camp, that he's here to just help this team win. So I'm just super excited for what he's going to do for this team and for me, honestly.
Piggyback off of that, how's playing with Tyus for the first time? How much does your role change with him?
Tyus is the point guard that every team wants. He plays the right way. He's a great communicator. Dead balls, he's coming up. He's calling out plays, making sure everybody is organized. That's someone that you want. And I think my role when it comes to playing with him is he wants to find the big. He wants to make the extra pass. So. Kind of like Desmond, he's just going to make it so much easier for everyone else.
See a player like Paolo get 3 blocks, but 3 different ways. What does that do for the rest of the group?
Man, when he's playing both ends of the floor, man, it makes our team so lethal. When all of us are playing both ends of the floor, 1 through 5, we're all locked in. I don't see no team being able to stop us when we're all dialed in on both ends of the court. So, he kind of set the standard for himself in that first preseason game, and that'll be something that we expect for him. And then, like I said, when he's locked in on that side of the ball, he's a whole different monster.
You had a couple of nice blocks in that game.
Yeah.
How did you feel overall? I know it's a big deal for you to have like a healthy offseason kind of come camp at 100% health-wise. How did you feel? How would you assess your performance in that?
I felt pretty good, honestly. Wind felt pretty good. Legs felt good. Personally, I kind of knew what to expect from myself just because of the work I put in throughout the offseason. So, like I said, I felt good. I'm just excited for to kind of get this thing going.
Tyus, what was the focus of practice and training camp today as you guys continue this training camp experience and get ready for another preseason?
Yeah, continuing to grow in all areas, continue to drill habits. We got up and down a little bit today, so it was good to play and compete, but still just trying to drilling those habits. So it was a good day for us.
Wendell was kind of talking about how a little bit today was also getting that stamina up really to be able to last these long games. And how important is that for you guys to kind of work on that early to establish digging deep, finding ways to win, especially later in the season too?
It's extremely important. Getting in shape. We want to play fast. That's something we've stressed and talked about, obviously, heading into the season. But to do that, you have to be in great shape. So each day, trying to continue to work, trying to take care of our bodies, but push ourselves, not only physically but mentally. Like, it's tough to play fast and stay. That's when, the mental mistakes come in and kind of creep in. Is you're not as sharp offensively, defensively. It's harder to talk, when you're tired. So those things are what we're working on right now. Just continue to get in shape, continuing to stay sharp and be polished on both ends of the floor, even when we're tired, even when we're a little bit fatigued. So that when the regular season gets here, we're in a much better spot.
What stood out to you about that first preseason game, especially in the first half when the start game?
I think just the attention to detail. Our spacing, we did a pretty good job with trying to make the right play, trying to do the right thing. It was huge. I think you saw guys trying to make the right pass, creating for the guy next to them, and I think that's a big key for us. The amount of talent we got, so many different guys can score, can put the ball in the basket. So I think if we're trying to make plays for the guy next to you, it's going to just open up the offense. And then defensively, obviously the identity of this team. There's room for improvement, but it's a good starting point for us. Good to set that bar, and now we can try to continue to, watch the film, kind of sharpen up on that on the floor. So it was a good first game for us.
You and Des, I think the only two players have been out of the first round on this team.
Yeah.
The playoffs are a long way away, but how important are our training camp and kind of getting that condition, getting that mental part right, to preparing for that long journey?
Yeah.
Getting deeper where a lot of these guys have.
It's extremely important. You're laying the foundation right now. Obviously, the goal is to play into June. Like, you want it to be a long season. You want it to be a grind. So you got to prepare yourself mentally, but it's just the foundation right now. You're trying to lay, set those pillars, that you can always kind of fall back on. And we're trying to just set the standard. We're trying to set the standard right now in training camp so that we know, we only have up to go from there, and that, again, when you're fatigued, when you're in the dog days of the season, you know what your foundation is.
Is the playoff something you guys are talking about, even if it's just like theoretical, way down the road? But how do you approach that idea of like we're in this for a longer haul than maybe we would use?
Yeah, not necessarily. Like, we're not gonna skip steps. We're not gonna look too far ahead. We know what the ultimate goal is, right? I think everybody does, and everyone wants that. But in order to get there, we know there's smaller steps you have to take and you have to achieve in order to achieve that big goal. So we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We're not going to look too far in the future. But we also know, like, in order for us to do what we want to do, that means it would be a long season. So we want to prepare ourselves the right way, mentally, physically, take care of our bodies, take care of our minds. Even on lighter days, make sure we're still staying sharp, staying focused. If it's more of a mental day, things like that. But we're not necessarily saying, like, we're trying to play into, you know what I mean? So it's like yes and no to answer your question, but we're trying to just stay as present as possible, be better today than we were yesterday, and we'll look up and we'll be in a good spot.
You've had some time now to kind of work with Coach Prunty and just kind of develop a relationship. What's it like, and what's he kind of, I guess, wanted to see you do a little bit more of?
Yeah, I think just continue to be myself. He wants me to just be who I am on the court. That's a leader. That's someone who's going to make the right play. Get my teammates involved, take my open shots, be aggressive when I need to be, things like that. But just, getting familiar with him. He's got a great basketball IQ, great basketball mind, and that's something I appreciate. I pride myself on, the same thing. So it's been good just talking basketball with him and just kind of picking his brain, seeing what he sees on the court, and vice versa. Like, he's asking me kind of what I see from being out there, what I like, what I don't like, and so it's been good so far.
Talked to Wendell, and he explained how you really value working with the big and trying to get them involved in the offense. How does it feel to play with a variety of bigs? You've got Mo, Goga, Wendell, all with various different skill sets. And how do you build that chemistry here?
Yeah, I think just reps. Me and Dell have been talking a lot. Obviously, we've known each other, but never shared the floor together. So just trying to build that chemistry. So just conversations, extra reps during practice, after practice, and just seeing what he likes, what he doesn't like, what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's a two-way street, you know what I mean? It's not always about the guard being right or what I may see or want. Sometimes the big has a viewpoint, or they saw a play a certain way, or they're looking for something in the action. So it's a two-way street, and I think for guards, it's important to keep the bigs happy, like for many different reasons. They're setting screens for you. They got your back on defense. They're the anchor, you know what I mean, on offense and defense. And you got to keep them happy. You got to reward them at the same time, because we're asking them to do a lot. We ask them to rim run. We ask them to talk, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you got to do your job in making the right play, getting them the pocket pass, getting them the lob if it's there. Just over communicating with them, making sure you're on the right page. So I take pride in keeping our big men happy. And to your other point, we got different sets of bigs. Like all their games are a little bit different, but they complement our ball club extremely well, and they're all extremely important to what we're trying to do and what we're going to do. So for me, it's just figuring them out, figuring out that chemistry again. I'm only, what day is this? Like 6 officially. So that's just a work in progress, figuring them out. And when Mo gets back, that'll be a work in progress as well. So just trying to communicate with them as much as possible.
What were your first impressions of playing with Wendell on Saturday?
Just a beast. His physical presence, just a big body, obviously strong, shot blocker, but you see on offense he's versatile. Stepped out, hit a 3, getting on the rim, setting solid screens, which is creating that first domino, in our offense. So he does a lot for us. He's going to be extremely important to what we're trying to do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing the floor with him all year.